Hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in and for joining the Controversy 7. My voice sounds whack, I know, but you know what, believe it or not, ignore that whack voice of mine. Just hear the message that I'm trying to convey to you. Now, I reached out to a YouTube channel here on YouTube, and this channel is called the Forerunner Chronicles, or the Forerunner777. And I spoke with Christopher Hudson. Christopher Hudson, the owner of that channel, I reached out to him because I was inspired to show support to his channel. And I wish to do a shout out to his channel because he is actually doing a lot more in the ministry than I am. And he's doing a lot more than many people are actually doing. And I honestly feel like it's time for us to not just sit around and do nothing. This channel, I reached out to him and we had a conversation. I spoke with Christopher Hudson, and as I spoke to him, he does have a campaign that he is doing right now that he is trying to open. He's trying to do. There's so much that he's mentioning. I'm just gonna let him speak. So I want you to listen to the conversation that myself and Christopher Hudson had over the phone, and I would like to extend your ears to listen to what he is doing, so that you guys can be able to go and support this ministry. We need to support each other and help each other out. And I'm helping out these channels. I'm supporting his channel, his ministry, and I'm supporting what he is doing because I myself am not doing it. I want to do something. And we are going to be held accountable if we don't do something. And I'm trying to bless his channel by also taking this channel which the Lord gave me, and I want to also extend a shout out to his channel so that his channel can grow, so that what he's doing right now in Africa can also go to your ears. And whomever is listening to this, I'm praying that you will go and support this ministry. Please, ladies and gentlemen, open your ears and listen carefully to what is being said. And I'm going to play the promo video of exactly what he is doing. Observe. Okay, so I am on the conversation right now with a brother by the name of Christopher Hudson. Christopher Hudson is from a YouTube channel well known as the Forerunner Chronicles. One of the guys that actually helped inspire me to become a YouTuber, and I had to reach out to him to help his ministry grow there because he's been way ahead of me and ahead of a lot of people here with regards to actually being out in the field and sharing the gospel work. And I just felt compelled that I need to extend my hand to support his ministry. So right now I'm going to leave the floor for Chris Hudson to speak and to introduce himself to some of the many audiences that I've gained, which some people may heard of him and others may not have heard of him. At this point, Chris, I would like to speak now in front of the people.
Brother, thanks for reaching out to me to do this interview. I think it's a real blessing. And for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Christopher Hudson. Most of you out there know me as the Forerunner from the Forerunner777, the Forerunner Chronicles on YouTube. And been posting video content up on the internet for several years now. But especially in 2018, the Lord really impressed upon my heart that we needed to spend a lot more of our time physically in the mission field. We've been going in the mission field throughout the years, but 2018 was a year in which I spent a lot of time traveling internationally and just working out in the mission field with people to work with them, as I stated in the video that I put out recently that my brother Emmanuel, Controversy 7, was talking about a minute ago. As we've been going in the mission field, our focus has been to, yes, alert people to the times in which we live, yes, alert people to the reality of the fulfillment of Bible prophecy and how near the second coming of Jesus Christ is. But there's a real need for people to have a practical preparation for the second coming of Christ. And many people don't know how to go about doing that. And then there's some real needs that are in our world that can only be satisfied as we take up the ministry of Jesus Christ. And so we've started this initiative known as, we've entitled it the One Project. I think we're going to make an amendment to that and call it Win One Soul Mission. And basically, what the One Project or the Win One Soul Mission is all about, it's about establishing physical institutions that can have far-reaching and long-lasting impact. So we're really focused on establishing schools, training centers that can act as mediums by which people can gain a knowledge of things that are necessary for them to be able to advance, but also, most importantly, mediums by which people can be educated concerning the everlasting gospel, how they can use the gifts and tools that God has placed within their possession to be effective evangelists, and how they can go out into their nearby communities and throughout the world to spread this gospel message to help hasten the second coming of Jesus Christ. The One Project is about establishing one lifestyle center, and these lifestyle centers are health institutions that will be governed by biblical principles, where people can come to learn how they can be restored back to health, not using drugs, but using those natural means that God has given us, applying the 8 laws of health, and also where they can receive education as to how they can maintain their health and that of their own family members, and establishing one orphanage where obviously we want to be able to deal with the younger members of the family of God. There's so many young children that we see as we go around the world that are without father and without mother. They don't feel as though they're loved, they're cared about, and we want to be able to provide them with homes, provide them with assistance, that they might realize that God does love them and that He has a plan for them and that He wants to use them. And so when I say one of these things, we're not just trying to, make one of each one of these things, but we're talking about each donation that individuals give, like yourselves out there that are listening to this. Those donations will go towards establishing one of those types of projects somewhere throughout the world. And we've begun in Zimbabwe, where we've just funded this construction of a school in a very rural, impoverished area. It's called Gokwe in Zimbabwe. But people are living off of a weekly income, in many cases, of less than $1 per week. And that's just unheard of to many of us in Western civilization, but it's the reality that most of those people are living with. And so, and a lot of that is elaborated on in the video that my brother might share with you guys. But so we're building a school over there in that community. We still need to dig a borehole, which is basically a source of water for the individuals, so they can utilize that water not only in the construction of the school, but also it can be a source of water for that village and that community, because the nearest borehole is about a 6-mile walk, and that borehole is one that most of the people actually use as a source of water for their animals. So it's not even a good source of drinking water for human beings, but yet and still they have to deal with what they have available to them. And then a better source of water is just a much further distance for those individuals. And many of these people, when they're traveling, they're not traveling by car. They have to either travel by foot or travel by donkey cart. So it's a very slow and tedious process, but it's become a way of life. And unfortunately, they have to put up with certain of these issues because they don't have the finances to do anything better for themselves. But we, who have a knowledge of the truth, and God has blessed with, even if it be a little bit of resources, our little is much for people in that region and can make a dramatic impact on the lives of thousands of individuals. So that's one project that we're working on currently right now. And then another project that the Lord has opened the way for us to work on through a series of different miracles that I don't have the time to go into right now, is to actually open up a television broadcasting network in Ghana, where we will be broadcasting the everlasting gospel, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, into the homes of over 28 million people that populate that region. And it's so interesting when you look around in these what they call high-density communities. What they call high-density communities there in that part of the world they all have satellite dishes. They all have satellite dishes, which means there is an entrance, there's a doorway to get into their homes, and thereby, by the grace of God, reach their heart with this gospel. And for those of us that know from the things we see going on within our world, whether it be looking at geopolitics, looking at what's going on in the Oval Office, looking at what's going on in Rome, and of course looking at what's going on in the religious arenas, for those of us that are following all these things, we can see we're in the last days, so we can see that human probation is getting ready to close. The four winds are getting ready to be let loose that is spoken of in Revelation chapter 7. The seal of God is being placed now upon the servants of God, and my point being is time is wrapping up. That's what I'm trying to get to at this point. Time is wrapping up, and so whatever we can do, we must do it now, and we need to do it quickly. And so that conviction is resting heavily upon my team and myself. We're all going out and trying to do as much as we possibly can do in these final remnants of time to try to advance this gospel, just like my brother Controversy 7 here is seeking to do that. And I would invite you all to participate in doing whatever you can do in your local communities.
In the town of Gokwe. In Gokwe, where livestock and agriculture are the primary sources of income, the average household earnings for 1 week is less than $1. This is where the Forerunner Chronicles is funding the construction of a school that will be multi-purposed for the advancing of the everlasting gospel.
No, we want to thank, we have received money from the Forerunner to build a school here for Maputi villagers. Yes, and we are so happy. We praise the Lord for that. And the next thing that we should be the first is the borehole, because here is, even if you want to embark to build, we have to travel for almost about 8 to 10 kilometers to get water to build the school. So the most important thing is the borehole. At this hour, it's a bit raining, so the dams, the water points are almost 8 kilometers away. But during the summer, it's almost nothing.
The dams which my friend were talking about is for their animals to drink, and the dams are dirty for drinking water. But if we have bowls, they will use that water even to drink and even to build this school.
So if we sink a borehole here, it will help the villagers for their purposes and for the school and the school teachers.
It came to our attention that a young female member of that church was raising an orphan baby.
And now,
what is her name? What is her name?
Blessed. His name is Blessed. She was struggling to take care of the baby and was running out of resources simply to feed him. But praise God, because the one project that he inspired us to initiate has funds set aside just for this purpose, I gladly told her that I was more than willing to take her to the market to purchase all the food and supplies that she needed to satisfy the needs of baby Blessed. And as this young sister realized that our visitation that day was an answer to her prayers, she began to shed tears of thanksgiving, and the joy that filled my heart was simply indescribable. The people of the community watched as we took her into the marketplace and began purchasing the necessary supplies. The people were inquiring, who are these men? What church are they a part of? And when it came to their attention that we were Seventh-day Adventists, they were excited. My friends, through this very small act of benevolence, a huge door of opportunity has been opened for us to return into the area to do effective evangelism. So as you can see, God's been working marvelously here in Zimbabwe. He's opened up the door for us to do a great work, and there was a multitude of obstacles that arose to try to hinder us from making it into this mission field. But I praise God, as he always does. He paved the way, he made it clear. And now we have the opportunity to establish a work here in Zimbabwe that literally will be the means by which tens of thousands of people will have the everlasting gospel set before them so that they can be prepared for the second coming of Jesus Christ. But God hasn't stopped here. God has made it very clear to us that there's another work that he wants us to do here in the continent of Africa, in particular in the region of Ghana. Through a series of miraculous events, unbeknownst to ourselves, God has brought to us the opportunity to establish a broadcasting network in Ghana that will beam the everlasting gospel into the homes of over 28 million people that populate that region. I'm talking about 28 million people receiving the everlasting gospel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 365 days a year. This is an awesome opportunity, and the way has been made clear. All of the necessary paperwork has been approved. Even the very land upon which we need to build the media center has already been secured and set aside. But all we need to do now is to build and get all of the necessary technology to go forward with power and make this work a success. And that's where you come in. If you have a burden for souls, if you realize that now we're living in the last days, and very shortly from now, all of our resources, whether they be great or meager, will be worth nothing to us. And now is the time for us to make investments that will stand the test of eternity. Then I want to invite you to visit the GoFundMe campaign that we have established particularly for the purpose of establishing this broadcasting network in Ghana to get the message of truth before the people before it's eternally too late. My friends, this is our hour to stand up on the side of righteousness and truth. This is our time to unfurl our colors and make it known that our only King is Jesus Christ, and our allegiance is towards the kingdom of heaven, and our burden is to see men and women saved by the blood that was shed on Calvary's cross for their sins. It is our responsibility to blow the trumpet, to give it a certain sound, to let the people know that Jesus is coming. And whatever God has placed within our hands, whatever resources he's made available to us to do this, he's counting on us to be faithful. And so may God help you as you prayerfully consider what he would have you to do for this work for such a time as this. God bless you. And as always, this is the Forerunner. And whether you like it or not, the truth is the truth.
You're doing a good job, Forerunner, and I would like to keep in touch with you. And when you're coming up, when you have to let me know when you're coming up in Canada, because then we're gonna try and meet with you as well in person.
We can start some trouble for God.
What's that?
I said we could start some trouble for God.
Oh yeah, you know what? Actually, before I even called you yesterday, I was speaking to a friend of mine. I was helping him get his install a light fixture yesterday. He's a good friend also who is a firm believer in present truth, and he also is he's also trying to go and minister to people. He goes around in his neighborhood handing out pamphlets all the time. But I was talking to him yesterday, and I said, you know what, Keenan? Honestly, I feel it in my heart. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm not doing anything for the Lord, and I really feel like, now is the time to start causing trouble for God's work. I literally said that to him. I actually said that to him. Dead serious. I'm not even. You can even ask him. That's what I told him. I said, now is the time. I said, listen, I'm going to really, I'm going to start, stirring up some problems. And I said, I'm going to stir up a problem right now because I feel like I'm not doing anything. I need to. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut the video at this point with regards to this recording. This recording is actually quite longer than what you are seeing here. Now, I will release the full version sometime down the road. At the moment, at the present time, I need to upload other contents that I need to put out here, because I have been sick for the past week or so, actually a little longer than that. I've been plagued with illness, but I am, thank the Lord, I am recovered, and my voice still sounds kind of bad, but nonetheless, I do give thanks to the Lord for good health. It's been a long time. When I say it's been a long time, it's been a long time since I was ill, and I guess I never dodged the bullet this year. But nonetheless, I do pray and hope that those of you who have heard this message, I hope that you can go and support Christopher Hudson in what he is trying to do in Africa there. Support his team, what they are doing right now, because, you know, whatever little means that you can help with, you know, it goes quite a long way. You know, I'm asking you guys to do this because, you know, this is going for a good cause, and I definitely want to support. I love to support channels and or people who are actually doing something for the Lord, and they have a passion for it. You know, supporting organizations is a whole different thing, but supporting people, because, you know, organizations, I really am not a fan of organizations. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not a fan of organizations, even those big organizations like the World Vision and many others, you know, UNICEF. They try to, you know, they do say that they are doing good things out there. Now, I'm not criticizing them. I'm not here to judge them or pass any condemnation against them. But there's just so many things which are questionable. I, myself, me, the Controversy 7, I used to be in a refugee camp myself. We used to be dependent upon the United Nations. And I can tell you guys that the food that they were giving to us when we were in the refugee camp, they were giving us grains that had bugs in it. They were giving us things that had, you couldn't even believe the things that we were being fed. I'm telling you guys this because I actually was a refugee. I actually lived and gone through a time of tribulation. We lived, my family, when I was a child. Maybe I can do a testimony. I could do a whole testimony video. It's strictly a video strictly for testimony. I lived in a refugee camp in which, you know, almost every week or every other week, you see a dead person being carried into the cemetery. At least 1 week you will see a dead body being taken to the graveyards. You know, and I used to see that. We used to see that all the time. Early in the morning, people had to go. Where I was, you know, people would have to go. If you want water, you have to go early in the morning at around, like, let's say 4 in the morning. You need to go and stand in line because the water opens at 6 o'clock. But guess what? If you go at 4 in the morning, if you think that you're going to get there early and you'll be one of the first ones in there, good luck, because when you get there, there's already a bunch of people. There's like 80, 90 people already in front of you waiting for water. And then there's children that go to get water who are like as young as 8 years old. Others 7 years old going with their older siblings, which are maybe 9 or 8. You know, they're going to get water to bring home, you know. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know why I even went that far. Nonetheless, this is just to kind of say, you know, one of the reasons why I myself don't support big organizations. But when I see individuals that are actually going on the front lines and actually doing something for the Lord, and they're actually trying to utilize their finance and utilize all the things which the Lord has allowed them to do in their power and in their hands, you know, to go and bless others with it, I feel compelled to help them out, you know. And I'm also asking you to go and, you know, help them out, because this does go a long way. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to keep this one way too long. Actually, I'm just gonna cut the video right here. If you guys would like to have me do a testimonial video, I can do that. I can share with you guys how I went through war. My family escaped tribulation. And when I was born, I was pretty much born at a time of a crisis. Nonetheless, the Lord has preserved my life, and here I am today. You know, God's name is worthy of all praise, and I say all praise be to the name of Jesus Christ. I'm not trying to hold you off, ladies and gentlemen, so I'll have to cut the video here. I will upload the full version sometime down the road. I don't know when, but I may just release it for those in Patreon right now, for my Patreon members, because I have a lot that I'm trying to upload. I have a lot that I'm trying to work on. I'm going to try and focus on bringing the information out to you guys here as soon as I can, as quickly as I can, because it does take some time and everything to do all this. But I will just release it maybe in the next few days. I'll release it out on Patreon, and those who are there can be able to see it while I'm uploading other stuff also here on YouTube. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I do have lots of work to do, so if you have not hit the bell notification, be sure to do so. Hit the bell notification, hit subscribe, and there's a lot of information coming across your way. And also, please don't forget, go and show your support to Christopher Hudson at the Forerunner777. And please don't forget to go and at least donate to what he's doing right now in Africa, because this is someone who is actually doing something for the Lord, and I think it's definitely worth supporting. And I have done so myself, and I will continue to do so. And I'm just only reaching out to all of you so that you can also pray about this, and make sure you give it prayerfully. Do it with a humble heart, and the Lord will bless you. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and for joining me. This is the Controversy 7. The next time that you hear my voice, hopefully my voice will be better and more clearer, but probably not, because I'm immediately starting to work on new content right now. Thank you for joining me. You take care of yourselves, be safe, and I will see you guys next time.